This is Snetterton Racetrack. This year, it is the track's 60th anniversary. In celebration of its anniversary, this year Snetterton has launched its newly constructed 3-mile circuit. Today, we will be showing you the past and the future of this race circuit. Before Snetterton became a racetrack, it was originally an airfield known as RAF Snetterton Heath, starting life in May 1943 and lasting until November 1947. It was then used by the United States Army Air Force, which hosted the 96th Bomb Group during the Second World War. A few years after the airfield was shut down, an Eastern Area Secretary for the Aston Martin Owners Club, Oliver Sear, put forward a proposal to use the disused airfield as a racetrack.
Folklore has it that Oliver and his wife were taking a shortcut back from a shopping trip in 1951, and as they were walking across land, Oliver decided that the circuit, the airfield, would present an ideal place for some motorsport. So he and some colleagues, Fred Riches and Dudley Coram, got together and decided they would start a racetrack.
In 1951, the Aston Martin Owners Club arranged the first race. The racetrack was then opened for the first time on October 27th and continued to host various car touring and motorbiking championships. From that day on, Oliver Sear would be referred to as the father of motorsport in East Anglia. Over the next 60 years, configuration of the track would change greatly. In September 2010, Snetterton Race Circuit went under major redevelopments. The track was to be extended into a 2.99-mile circuit with 3 configurations. This project has been of great personal interest for the former F1 racing driver and CEO of Motorsport Vision, Jonathan Palmer.
Jonathan Palmer cut his teeth in motorsport at Snetterton Circuit when he was driving Formula 4s, and used to regularly thrash up and down the M11 to come to Snetterton testing. So right from his early days, this has been a home for him, and obviously when he got a chance to buy all the circuits, Snetterton was part of that group, and he's been keen to invest and to develop the circuit ever since.
The new track consists of a 100 layout, which is made up of a 1-mile infield section. This mile track will be used for testing as a race school. As for the 200 layout, this will be the closest to the original. The 200 layout is reprofiled into turns 2 and 13, which makes this different from the original. This will see better options for overtaking. This layout will be mainly used for club and local racing. And finally, the 3-mile track will have the old circuit incorporated with the new infield section. This track has been designed to bring international levels of racing to the circuit by gaining an FIA Grade 2 licence.
The new track is longer than the previous configuration, so now just under 3 miles. Even back in the housing days, we were at 2.71 miles, so it's a much longer track now. Basically an investment of around about £3.5 million, and the track was designed by Jonathan Palmer himself. Spent a lot of time looking at other racetracks and trying to pick all of the best corners around the world at various racetracks and trying to get it all in one place. Judging by the plaudits and reactions we've had so far from drivers and riders, we appear to have achieved that. It's not just about the track though. The idea is that if the drivers and riders enjoy it, the racing will be more exciting. If the racing is more exciting, it's better for spectators. So we've had to do a bit of work on the spectating setting. We are an old airfield, so fundamentally we're quite flat. So we've had to build 3 or 4 large spectator viewing areas with reasonable slopes on them so people can get up there, and it just means that the viewing now is pretty good, to be honest, I have to say. From certain areas you can now see sort of 1-2 miles of track just from one vantage point, so it's pretty good.
Not only will the track provide a more exciting race, the circuit will also provide outstanding, spectacular viewing.
The new spectator banks that we have, we've placed them very carefully, and with a new infield layout, the idea was to have viewing areas that could look over as much track as possible, as many corners as possible. We've tried to improve the overtaking opportunities, and the idea is to have spectators overlooking those areas. So with the 3 large viewing banks we've created, we believe we've achieved that. You can see, as I say, approximately sort of 1 to 2, 1.5 miles of track from each of these locations. So fundamentally a much improved viewing spectacle.
One of the areas, such as Bombhole Bank, has now become much safer.
One of the fundamental changes to the circuit really has been to improve the safety at the circuit. We've generally had a very good safety record, but you've always got to improve. Cars and bikes get quicker and quicker every year. So part of the development, we've looked at the amount of space between the track and the barriers, and to make sure that we've managed to get those as far away as possible. So if we take one example, the Bombhole, moving that back last year, we extended it by approximately 70 metres, which basically means now that by the time a car or bike makes it as far as the barrier, they've virtually come to a stop anyway. So that obviously helps prevent injuries to people, but it also prevents damage to machinery, which is quite expensive. And so from a midweek testing and track day point of view, if you can go home with your car or bike intact, that's obviously a major benefit. So it's not just about personal safety, it's about preventing vehicle damage as well.
The new track may be finished, but future developments are in place for Snetterton Racetrack's continuing transformation.
The track extension is phase 1 of the overall development plan for Snetterton. Basically, now that's complete, we're going to take a year out to learn how to use the track and get the dust can settle, so to speak. We are then going to be on the trail for our development for our hotel, retail outlets, and fundamentally the race team workshops that form a major part of our plans for the future. This will be around, we expect to be around about sort of 2012, 2013, but that will be the next stage for Snetterton.
I think the new Snetterton facility is fantastic. I can't say enough credit to the way the race meetings run. The medical facilities here were absolutely fantastic. You know, I was really looked after very well, with, high level of professionalism. And I think, Jonathan, and the guys, deserve all credit for what they're doing here and the success that will surely come.
Overall, quite enjoyable, certainly an improvement, because before it was, I would say, a fairly bland circuit, and it was 2 straights and 4 corners. Now at least we've got a few more corners, and the circuit is a little bit more interesting to drive with more overtaking places.
Obviously, I very much like the old circuit because I've been racing here for about 20 years now, and the new one's taken a little bit to get used to be honest. A little bit more technical than before, but over the weekend I've got to know it quite well and enjoy it quite a lot now actually. It's quite challenging, a lot more technical, but I do miss the more faster flowing older circuit, but I think in time it will be fine.
The Snetterton Racetrack has been here since 1951 and has a long and glorious history. This is the next phase of our history. This development basically takes us into the next generation of racing drivers and racers, motorcycle racers, and we're hoping to be able to offer a much more enjoyable and exciting experience for all those who attend the circuit.
This year, the new 3-mile track will play host to the major British Motorsport Championships. Because of Snetterton's newly constructed circuit, it has now become the 2nd longest racetrack in England.